Yeah.
I'm not gonna blast you on my podcast show. I'm better than that.
Oh man, cause my mama told me better than that. What's up, guys? What's up, everybody? Hey, guys.
Oh, the fake.
Hey,
the
guys.
fakeness. No.
It's your boy MT here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode.
Stop that voice. Oh my gosh. Welcome back to Poignant Bars.
Welcome back to Poignant Bars, cuz. Welcome back, Lo.
It's been a while.
Why don't you sit down over there? Let me tell you what's been going on since
Malcolm
we've been gone.
cannot
cuz.
decide where he's from this evening, okay? Welcome back to our show, which you see once or twice a year because
Once or twice. Hey, niggas be busy. Niggas be doing shit.
we've been doing stuff. That's a good thing. It's better to be doing stuff, right?
Yes.
You've been doing a lot of stuff.
I've been doing little things.
MC the artist has been going
Little
very
things.
hard with his art
Here and
lately,
there.
okay?
I've been kind of rubbing shoulders and whatnot. The brushing of the shoulder. Nah, I've been tapping in. You know what I'm saying? I've been tapping in. You know.
The accent.
I was just look. I can't not, because everything to me sounds like a rapper doing an interview. You know,
You
like
kind of are. Like, you gotta get into your...
I think other rappers do, like, people would just be giving the same answers,
Right.
but just
They were like, no, we just been in the studio,
Yeah, I
we've
just
been
been locked
focused,
in.
we just been like working hard, team, we've been doing good things,
we gotta the team.
When we say we,
Yeah.
as if we have a team, it's just me and Malcolm and the
Just-
dogs.
The dogs, yes.
And
yes.
Captain Gabriel.
Yeah, and Crook over here chilling too.
Crook always know we filming and decides to pull up.
I'm
and
surprised
insert
he's
himself.
chilling right now.
Well, because I was looking at, we had a stare down, like, you're not coming up here. It's hot, it's not happening. And he stared me
It's
down.
very hot.
Yeah, it's because we used the oven. You know the oven makes your apartment get spicy?
Yeah.
Spicy.
Yeah, real spicy. Speaking of spicy.
The culture has been spicy.
Spicy culture.
You know what? Summer's coming. Now you want to get up. He heard us talking about it. It's the summer, niggas is getting vaccinated. You can feel the energy building in New York City for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like post-pandemic, at least I've been witnessing, like not just us personally, but people around us, people are just getting into their bag. You know, a lot of people are feeling inspired and creative and like.
I feel like last year was so hard that people are just happy to see the sun. Right?
I'm just happy to be here. Okay.
I feel like niggas is just happy to.
Every day that I wake up, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Today is a good day. I'm here. I'm alive. So we've been in like a creative
the
spree.
Appreciation.
A lot of people around us have been in a creative spree.
But
I think also that is leading to some spice and some falling outs in like the entertainment industry,
some
like
spice and falling
in
outs.
work and stuff. Well, because there's like a reckoning happening of like opposing energies. Well, you know when one energy starts not a reckoning, but I feel like when one energy starts to build up, things that aren't like in alignment, they start to like it has to have some sort of little like skerfluffle, a little kerfluff,
a skerfluffle.
Well, I know a lot of people who've been quitting their jobs. I know a lot of people
because jobs are a scam.
Well, yes.
Jobs are a scam.
As long as we're trapped in capitalism, it's a necessary scam for some of us. So don't go quit your job because Malcolm said jobs are a scam. I'm not paying you rent. Okay.
Keep that third one open. I got the hat on so you can't see it, but
he's blocking his third eye.
It's open.
Are you on TikTok?
I'm checking the numbers. I'm checking the numbers.
He's addicted to his newfound clout, his TikTok clout.
My newfound clout. I would never call it that. I would never coin that. Never. No.
We're speaking your
It's
clout
yucky.
into existence.
Yucky.
Now.
The whole thing is yucky.
I'm just sprinkling clout all over you.
Clout.
Baby.
Shower me with clout. That's the next thing.
No, we don't want
Call it the clout shower.
clout. We just want recognition for the talent, for the craft, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The appreciation for the craft, the elevation of the profession of the artistry.
Mm.
But what were you saying?
I feel like it's coming. It's coming. All things.
It's bourgeoning.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people are looking. A lot of people are looking forward to hearing some good music this summer.
Yes, we are ready. I'm ready to have a hot girl summer. Last year was a wash. Okay.
Last year was.
This is a lot of trauma for a lot of us to process, and some of us are just ready to hear some good music, something to shake our butt to.
Yeah.
You know, a little hype, a little joy, a little up.
A little something.
You know.
A little something.
Something to hit a little Kim to. You know. Something.
You gotta have something to hit the Kim to. It's a lot of shit going on. It's a lot of good things happening. It's a lot of, you know, wins and successes, but it's also a lot of things on the opposite side of that going on too. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different conflicts on multiple levels happening globally. All right.
Well, yes, globally. We're never gonna get into
globally, on a you know what I'm saying, on a personal level, on, you know what I'm saying.
Let's talk about
like,
the culture.
I'm saying on multiple levels.
You mean it's like a multi-faceted.
I was working my way there. Yes, but yes, and that's another level of it. It's, you know, where the conflict is. It's in the culture. The culture is at war right now. Okay, it's a war going on outside. No
That's
culture is safe
very
from.
Dramatic.
All right.
All right.
I mean, is it not? You see how they flipping?
Who is flipping?
They flipped on Jay and Nas.
Well, Jay and Nas shouldn't have released this. You know what? Okay. Let me preface this. Those who
you gotta
know
show them your ID
know
card.
that
Show
I
them
am a New York inundated.
Give them your credentials.
Completely old school. We root for the Knicks despite the pain. Jay-Z stan, okay? But I don't say this lightly. I did not enjoy the Jay-Z Nas collaboration, which we've recently received. I felt like it was pretty mid. Everybody, just the same way a broken clock is right twice a day, I think a working clock sometimes could
be wrong
go
twice
off
a day.
or something. I don't know what happened to his room.
If it's wrong twice a day.
The battery had a hiccup one time. We're not even saying twice a day. We're just saying one time. Okay.
Is it one time a day?
No, it's just one. It just happened one
Once
time.
every. Okay.
It was just a blip. It was just a glitch.
Right.
It was just your phone froze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
You're allowed
maybe your phone works.
You're allowed
nothing is wrong with it, and then it just froze. Okay.
Yeah.
You're allowed to
not
this is not dogging them
moment.
down, but like, why? You know, when you get the hype in your head of like Jay-Z and Nas together
it's
on
like
a track, you see the clips of the video, you're like, oh, they're about to rap our heads off. This is about to be Jay-Z and Pusha T Drug Dealers Anonymous level hard. Like, they about to go bar for bar. Because, you know, it's like, you feel like there's a little competitive nature with them. They're both elite MCs.
A little. A little.
In any case.
This man drops something every single
time. That's really
And it's not even like,
Jigga,
you
man,
know,
is petty.
it's not even like,
he is like
a conspiracy. It's confirmed.
Professional petty.
It's confirmed. If you just look.
If you look.
And see.
At any time Nas has ever dropped anything, Jay-Z has always.
If he drop a verse, if Nas is just
I'm
like.
convinced Jay has a folder in his computer that just has a go button for
it's
any
just
time that Nas drops something.
Tons
he has
files.
music prepared for that.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy the song?
Not as much as I thought I was going to. I definitely had higher expectations.
Yeah, you know that
and
was
I feel
like a
like
thing
that's
of,
what
of expectation. Like
yeah. Maybe that's on us.
No. Our expectations are through the roof because the quality of the music is usually like.
Maybe they're just ahead of their time with the. Maybe we got this too early.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe we got it too early.
No.
I think that might be what it is.
That's a no from me.
We got it too early.
He took that Beyonce pun way too far. Okay.
See, it's because our brains aren't ready to process that yet.
Nas over here getting paid by Coinbase to name drop. Like this is capitalism rap at its finest. Okay.
Okay. So.
Oh my gosh! I'm sorry, babe.
Would you?
I'm like having.
You are going through some things right now. Can we get a medic? Our
expectation is high because the talent level is high. Like if you made a song that was trash, I would be like, why did you do that? Because all the music that you make is good, you know. So that's where the level of expectation comes from.
Yeah, I think
you only expect so much of people who you don't really think are that great at what they do, or you know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I definitely feel like everybody's. Well, I don't want to say everybody because it was for as many people that was like feeling like how we're feeling. It was people on the other side that was like, you know, yo, he said Coinbase in a rap. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you know the.
Yeah.
Well,
there's always going to be that. I mean.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. It is what it is. Like, I feel like...
You're saying literally nothing.
We'll just... Because, you know, I feel like the climate is very sensitive right now. To the point where...
Everybody's acting so sensitive.
When you say something, I feel like... Even though you will be well within your rights to say something.
Well, everybody has the right to say anything. It's about how you say something,
you gotta deal with
your
what
tone,
comes
and your intentions. But if you're just talking about one song, you already done said their favorite artist of all time. Like, obviously you're not bashing Jay-Z or Nas.
Jay-Z taught me how to rap. Alright, Jay-Z was instrumental in me becoming the artist that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I've heard damn near every Hot 97 freestyle. Like the fanship goes way back, all the way to Hawaiian Sophie.
Okay.
I retroactively found out about Hawaiian Sophie, but I found out about it nonetheless, which means I am qualified to say that this song was mid.
That's not a big deal to say. It's okay.
It's alright. It's alright, baby. It's alright, baby. It's okay. You can say it was mid. I don't know. What's some other? I mean,
and I will fire you from this podcast.
Oh God! Listen.
I'll fire you, and then I'll proceed to scream at your empty seat.
Tell me to take a couple days off. Take a couple. Why don't you sit the next couple ones out? Why don't you cool off?
That whole situation was really, really a nice representation of just human behavior.
It was definitely interesting. For sure. Definitely interesting to see
You saying was, that's an active and
I mean,
situation.
is.
That's a situation.
Nah, listen.
That right now, I mean, I don't know, but you know, it takes us a month to even put our thing out. By the time this episode airs, it's probably not going to be that relevant anymore, but we was just alluding to this little situation. One of the big name podcasts, they had a falling out.
Of sorts.
I knew you was going to say of sorts. I could not resist.
They had a falling out.
They had a falling out, and the narrative seemed very one-sided and very skewed, and then the other half of them.
Man, just say what it really is.
Say
what it really is.
Joe Budden lost his shit. No, I'm just kidding. Well, because I don't want to talk about Joe Budden. I would rather talk about Mal and Rory, because I'm not trying to talk about Joe Budden.
Well,
Joe Budden's fans and stans is not worth the energy or the argument, okay? Now I feel like this conversation got to come with all types of disclaimers because of the crazy stans. Not that any of them watch our pod, but...
Nah, but you know what, though? I feel like... And people be researching shit.
For reference, okay? I'm not an active listener of the JVP, right? I know who they all are, but for many years, because Malcolm listens to a lot of those pods, I've heard many episodes, several episodes, okay? So I have context. Several episodes. I have context, okay? This is not biased. My personal disagreements with him aside, okay? I have said to you over the years, I said it several times, that I felt like there's some sort of weird trauma bond going on in that situation where he almost purposefully speaks over them when they're getting into a groove, or if they're getting like a little too funny or too like smart, or they're about to expound upon something, he cuts them off, he screams over them, he berates them a little bit, it's jokingly, but sometimes it's just kind of like you know. So I've always felt like the dynamic was a little strange. Like, I get the comedy aspect, but there's always felt like there's also been some level of like gaslighting happening between him and them. Like he like sometimes will like undermine them a little bit or embellish something, and they'll call him out and he'd be like, yeah, I was on some shit, and laugh it off. And it's like, it's all jokes, but at the same time I feel like it's leaving little hints like over time, like little character hints, like little Easter eggs that like if you kind of add it up, what has happened now, like what everybody is saying has happened now, it like makes a lot of sense when you consider some of those things that, like, you know, that weren't major at the time. They were subtle things, but that kind of they paint a broader picture of like the character, you know. I feel like there is no gaslighting of Maul. I feel like he's seen it. He's always seen what it was from the jump. I guess I mean more so gaslight to the public. In the narrative
like about
and the conversations more so than actually fooling it. One thing I will say about Maul, he's like a street dude who has that level of old school like street knowledge and sensibility. And although I believe some of his ideology is a little inundated, like you know, I've had some problems with some, you know, a little misogyny and things like that, but you know, none of that has to do with what we're talking about. We're being super subjective. You could tell that he has one of those types of personalities where he peeps things and then he just collects it, you know. It's like he's very watchful of what other people are saying and how they move around. He's the type of person that's not sitting with his back to the door, you know. That is there is like an archetype of a person who's like that. And like things aren't just going over his head. He may not be clocking them in the moment. He may not be reacting to those things, but those things are not going over his head.
Like the times where like, you know, like Joe's getting his shit off and like really starting to try to like roast Maul and shit. Maul has always striked me as somebody who has always probably just been like, man, like, I could, like, if I really wanted to, I could, like, end you any day of the week.
Yeah, but
I'm chilling,
wake up and choose violence.
Yeah, like, I'm chilling, so I'm gonna let you get your,
yeah,
I'm gonna let
their
you,
jokes off.
you know, because I'm not even on that. You know
He'll,
what
like,
I'm
kiki and not, like, I'm sorry, I keep wiping my eye, guys, because of my allergies.
Oh, man, listen,
it's just
that pollen count
is
high.
Me, and we was outside, now I'm under
That pollen count is up, alright?
Oh, my goodness, I am.
Y'all gotta be safe out here.
Please forgive me, because I know this is unsightly to keep having that. Oof. Well, if I just start crying spontaneously, it's not because I'm sad about their podcast breaking up. But
damn, first the Fat Boys.
We just paid our $2 to watch the special episode that Rory and Mal did together to give kind of, well, okay, the sequence of events, we don't have to like deep dive, but basically everybody could tell something was going on because they disappeared off of a couple episodes, and then it started getting talked about, and then he had some other people sit in. Then they came back for an episode to talk about it, and he said some flagrantly disrespectful things to his own friends. They tried to reason with him. Yeah, and then it kind of quieted again for a moment, and then he recently did an episode and then deleted it within 5 minutes where he was just like going off the hinge, like completely disrespectful towards them who were supposed to be like some of his closest friends, right? So that's kind of like what the whole public saw, you know, outside of knowing anything that's happening behind the scenes. So they kind of did this sit down to discuss what was happening behind the scenes, and it's so crazy that a lot of what they were saying is things that, for me, just witnessing how he deals with them in a public way, put together this archetype of that type of like ego personality and how they handle like the people around them, right? Yeah. Because it wasn't like accusatory. It wasn't like saying like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. It was basically just like, we needed accounting. This company refused to provide us with that. And a lot of people on Twitter super basic a lot of people on Twitter and stuff over the past couple weeks have been really dragging them, basically saying, you're employees, you can't just walk into your employer's office and demand to see the books and da-da-da. But actually, yes, you can. When you work for a company, the company is supposed to be transparent with you about earnings. They don't necessarily have to tell you how much everybody's getting paid, especially if you're like an employee, which we later have found out they were not employees. They were supposed to receive a percentage on revenue, which is basically a type of partnership, which is not I work for you. It's we're working together. I make a percentage off of whatever this does, despite what the number is. So if it's you made $2,000, I get 2%. If you made $200,000, I still get 2% type thing, right? So the public had
the nigga said
kind of wrongly assumed that they were kind of pressing him just on some like, you know, like feeling like, oh, we should own this and da 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 da. Like the narrative was just very skewed. And
it just got spun out of control.
They kind of cleared it up a little bit, but like aside from the risks, what we saw were the risks of getting into this type of business with your friends. And then having the type of friend who will gaslight you when you question them, and then not pressing for. There was countless times where Rory should have really put his foot down about transparency, but because of the friendship, he was allowing this slide that wouldn't have normally slid past in a normal business relationship. Because at the end of the day, business is business. Even when you're at work with your coworkers, you might really like them and mess with them, but the business always comes first in a co-worker relationship, right? And
he clearly knows how to do business because he ran.
They're savvy people. They weren't just like off the street. Like they both, you know, they're both savvy people. But it shows you that risk-benefit analysis of getting into certain types of business with your friends, and then allowing the blind spots that emotional, like friendship connections I create to interfere with like your business mind and the normal choices you would make if there wasn't an emotional attachment. Like in any other circumstance, if I work I work with somebody and I'm helping them build something, and a lot of my money is even behind what's being built, right? Yeah. My money, my energy, like it's like grind, blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm supposed to make a percentage off of those profits. I need to know what the profits are, so I know how much I'm getting paid. Yeah. That's like if I was in industry, if I was just selling blindly but couldn't know my own numbers, so that when they send me my commission, I would have no idea what I'm supposed to be getting.
Nobody is going to like work for something and just be okay with not
in
knowing
business. There needs to be some level of transparency in accounting that is common practice, that is standard, that is basic. There's nothing
on every level. Even if you work at McDonald's, all right,
they gotta account for the hours that you work.
Yes, when you see the pay stub, you're gonna want to know. Like, look, I know I've been here 45 hours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But when you're not hourly and you're not salary, when you make a percent, you need to know the overall earnings, because your money is based strictly off of that number. And if you don't know that number, then you don't know where your money is coming from or where money you're putting in is going, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think these were unjust things, but it was the red flags along the way and all of the reactions that they explained where I was just like, oh my God.
Yo,
you see so many
every time they brought it up to this man, he got into a fight with them. Like, every single time.
If you go into business with somebody and the very first time you ask them about the accounting and they flip out on you and scream at you, that should be the last day that you do business with that person. Or you need to really put your foot down about things being set in stone about how they're gonna function, how they're gonna operate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they're gonna just like, if
there
you
is no way in heck that is normal behavior. It is not. That is emotionally abusive. Okay, that is people wielding your emotional connection to them as a weapon in business to avoid clarity and transparency in the relationship, and to like hold some sort of like unequal power over you, you know, to the point where you feel guilty or wrong for asking for fair compensation. Not asking for fair compensation, for just asking to know what your fair compensation should be. That shouldn't be a fight. No. That should not be an argument. And if you realize you're in a pattern where your friend is like purposefully like throwing a shot at you, like on camera, or like degrading you, but like kind of masking it as a joke, these are also parts of the red flags, right? Yeah. Some people who have like egos want to collect people like Pokemon, but they feel like some weird level of ownership over those people. Right. But they're also enriched by them, but they don't want to acknowledge that those people are enriching them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they want to feel like they're the star of the show and you are just accessories like happening around them. Yeah. So then when they feel like you're getting a little bit too much shine, or the fans are liking you a little bit too much, they retaliate by trying to sun you. Like, y'all were just cool off camera, then we get on camera, now you're trying to sun me. You know what I mean? Like, that is like a toxic trait of like a narcissistic personality. And that doesn't mean that they don't care about that person, whatever, but their self-interests are so conflated that they don't even see. Because look at how, that's crazy how they knew for X amount of time that things was just not, the math was not mathing, but they just kept giving passes to say like, oh, you know, he's just volatile. That's just what my friend is. Like, it's show. Because it applies to like this situation, but it applies to life, like in general.
It don't even gotta be just business, like relationships, like anything. Yeah, it can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Remember we did the episode of DJ's podcast.
Shout out to the famous Duane's podcast. Yes.
About trauma bonding and like how we both got to take a sip at the same time. About like trauma bonding and how those types of relationships form and how you get like stuck in them and how you kind of know something is wrong but you don't know. You keep, what is it called? Complacent bias? No. What was that movie that we watched with Nicole Kidman? The Undoing. But, where the whole time she is literally an expert in her field in like psychology. Yeah. And she's living with a whole sociopath, but her bias, because she loves him, every time there's a red flag, her bias in her subconscious would just tell her that it's something else. So normally she could look and diagnose so easily someone outside of her family. Yeah. It's like her brain won't even go there to think that someone that she loved would even like maneuver like that.
Yeah,
so
her brain
just
even, like, calculate it. So she was like,
kept spitting it to her differently, kept justifying it differently. So she never perceived that she had a sociopath in her own home, even though that's literally what she does for a living. I feel like that's kind of a similar situation in those types of relationships.
When he blamed the little son, that's when she knew the jig was like. She was like, oh, okay, all right.
The jig was up. The jig was up. All right. She was like, oh hell no, I didn't use blame myself. Like, well, I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away.
I mean, look, if you ain't seen it by now.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know about that. It's like an obscure.
We
didn't give any spoiler warning, so we will not spoil.
And this is not a sponsored ad for HBO. All right, we don't rock with them niggas. They cut a check.
I didn't say we don't rock with them. If they're offering a check, I will rock with them. No, what I'm saying is that I don't want to spoil it, but
of course.
That dynamic that happened in that movie is a great way to explain what happens in situations like that, where because someone is close to you and you just like, they would never talk to me like that, or da-da-da-da, but then one thing happens that's like a step too far. Well, it's like they're a habitual line stepper, right? Everybody knows a habitual line stepper. They're the person that you like fuck with, but like every here and there, they just got to toe the line. They just got to cross the line. You like, bro, but you kind of get in your head, you know what, that's just how they are, it's just what they do. They just step the line here and there. But then it's one time, usually, like how Maul said, when they were sitting there, and he said, this podcast is none of your business, and Maul said it was like a switch flipped, and he was like, who am I even talking to right now? Like, because someone who was one of my closest friends, who I've built something with over like almost a decade, would never say that to me, like, and I think it was kind of like, that's how it flipped in his head, where he started like, it was like all the, the math starts mapping around your head, like hangover, and
was like, okay,
light bulbs start going off.
I've lost him.
It started to illuminate for him.
He's lost the plot.
And Rory said the same thing. They started to connect so many things that had been said and done in the past and realized the pattern. But it's just, it had never gotten so far where they really stepped back and was like, well, you knew in the moment that it's funny, but you didn't realize how funny it was until you get all the way here, and then you're like, oh wow, this was a whole web of funniness. But I was ignoring it because I'm like, this is my boy, he wouldn't do me like that. This is my person, they wouldn't do me like that. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
But then that habitual line stepper steps the line one time, like super severely, that like triggers you realizing like, oh my gosh, like they've been stepping the line this whole entire time. I never would have saw it. Like, da, 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 da. That it's like one of those things that I think in business is scary. It's scary because you don't want to get that far where you guys are like
ruin your whole
you're public
life.
Facing, and y'all have like millions of fans and listeners and subscribers, and you're big on social media, and now this happens, and now money is on the line.
Everything that you
work for. Pay attention to how people move when no money or very small money is involved. And make your character assessments before big money gets on the table. Because if you watch, people will show you who they are. You just have to take their actions. Don't take their words for it, because people will say any old thing. But just like with coworkers, when a coworker starts and they're all like, and you're like, you gotta kind of see how they move before you can make an assessment. It's kind of like you have to be like that with people who you're gonna go into business with.
You should.
You should definitely pay attention to how they act and how they move, especially in mixed company, especially around strangers, especially if they see you doing something outside of what y'all are doing together. You have to see, are they envious? Are they jealous? Are they diabolical?
Yes.
Do they breach contracts, even if it doesn't affect me? If you witness someone do something to Joe Schmo, you better assume that they will still do that same thing back to you. You know, just the same thing if you get with a cheater.
You gotta assume that the cheater.
If you get with a cheater and you was the side chick, you know good and well there's a high probability that dude is gonna continue moving how he was moving. He's not just gonna stop being a cheater.
No.
So people have to apply that to their business as well. Like, you can't go into business with someone who you're witnessing moving funny with other people and think just because of y'all friendship, they won't move funny with you too.
It's not going to end well.
No.
It's not going to end well. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before you get done.
Me and my friend, or me and Malcolm's friend, Jay Alexander. I remember many years ago, because we used to be peers in the same company back when we both worked for Louis Vuitton, and we was having a conversation about like having a very small circle, like kind of a mind group, when it comes to forming a business, right? And it was kind of like one of those conversations, like, look, it doesn't matter how much you think someone is cool, they're well dressed, they're smart, they talk a big game, da da da. That little group of people who you would trust if millions of dollars are on the table has to be so small and so tight with no leaks and no breaches. It has to be the person where if you're not in the room, they're gonna still have your best interest. Yeah. You know, if a competitor comes with a better deal, they're still gonna have your best interest. Y'all are gonna plot and plan together as like a unified front, and you don't witness them moving funny at all before it gets to millions of dollars. When it's still $10 on the table, when it's still for the love. If you start seeing funniness in that dynamic, and you especially, I feel like people, especially toxic people or abusers, are one way when y'all are one-on-one. It's all love, it's all praise, it's all da-da-da-da. It's all, as soon as you add strangers into the mix, that's when you kind of see if a switch up is going to happen. That's a good way. Or if y'all sit at the table together and there's a proposition or something, you'll see if they start trying to talk over you and across you and showboat and get like, you know, those are getting real boisterous. Boisterous. Cutting you off, or if they do something to diminish you or like talk foul to you in front of mixed company, that right there is a red flag that this is not someone that I could go into like big business with. That's not your man. Because the game really changes when it's $1 million on the table versus just, you know, for the love. You know, for the love, it just is what it is. Everybody's just networking, we rocking with each other. Yeah, you shoot a video for me, I'll rap for you. You know, I'll make a website. You know, it could be a lot of just right. You know, at a certain level, it could be a lot of certain love, and that's fine. And to a degree, you know, it could be like you know, someone approaches you for a website, and you can, you know, film a TikTok for them.
Like if I rock with you, then we can do something.
Or like they'll promote your song on their page. And that there's nothing wrong with those types of relationships at all. No. But it's when money gets involved that relationships start getting more tricky, that you really need to kind of know what you're going into, and that's why contracts are extremely important. You gotta have contracts. If you are going into a big business like they did, and the person you're going into business with flips out at the very mention of a contract, you should probably really sink your heels in right there. I'm not saying ditch your project, but I'm saying get a lawyer fast and let the lawyers handle it, and don't even
bring them up to speed. Bring your lawyer up to speed. Bring your lawyer up to speed.
This is cloth talk right here, okay? Look, I work in business, so I'm just trying to like give my perspective on the situation. Isn't about their personalities. The personality matters because a narcissist in business can be a very dangerous person. Or someone who's overly ambitious, like toxically ambitious, can be a very dangerous person. But there's also wolves in sheep's clothing in business as well. Like people who will smile on your face, but then they're very sharky. You know? So there's a lot of different...
It's a lot of...
The personality definitely is a part of it, but I guess I said to say, like, I'm trying to be very subjective on that matter. It's not about, like, whether I like...
Right, look, at the end of the day, we don't have a dog in the fight. We don't got... I mean...
It does not affect me.
I guess that's a bad analogy.
I was going to say something else.
Yo, Peter, chill. Put the can down.
I mean, dogs can fight outside of, like, a staged dog fight. Dizzy and Crook fight every day.
That's true. Okay, that's true. We don't. It's not organized. It's not organized.
Our dogs just don't like each other.
No, it's very unorganized. This would not be a sanctioned fight.
But it's like this isn't like coming from a place of like, oh, I think Joe is too loud. Yeah. No, I'm just trying to talk about.
It's just it's commenting
and being very hyper aware and hyper vigilant about when you're going into business, especially with someone who is known to be volatile. To make sure that you are not allowing your personal bias towards them to cloud your judgment when you're making important decisions. Especially if you're like I really feel for Rory in the situation because he's not a money hungry guy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it wasn't all about that to him. It was just more a clarity thing. Because there's even points where he's like, with or without a check, I'm still here. I'm still riding. Blah, blah, blah. But if that person can't even give you baseline level of clarity, or you know you already work in business, a contractual agreement when money is involved is the minimal. Even when you take a job at McDonald's or something like that, you are signing a contract saying, I accept this hourly wage, this amount of hours that I'll work a week. If I go over this hours, this is how much extra you have to pay me. That is still at the very 14-year-old getting a job in fast food. You still have to have a contract. So why on earth would you start a big project with someone that's going to have high level of visibility and get very complicated very fast? Things can get very nasty very fast when deals start coming, or, you know, offers start getting put on the table, because then it's like, well, how do we manage this? All that needs to be figured out on the front end. But if you already know that and that's your common practice, don't drop your business standards on account of your friends. Do not do it. It fails almost every
don't drop your business
or a
standards.
boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you know.
That
goes for
they get
romantic relationships
the full
too.
price
if you starting a business with a romantic partner, if y'all not like 50-50 partners like husband and wife, then y'all really need to, don't just be the $10,000 that's funding your man's business without anything on paper about what you're getting back from that, because
that ROI
y'all could get into a little tiff or break up, and then the problem of ownership just comes down to who did the paperwork or
Now you turn it into a squatter on your own property.
Chow. Not a squatter on your own property.
No, you a squatter on your own property.
Look, people will
leave
their...
jammed up.
I won't just say women because it happens both ways. But a woman, I'm just speaking from the perspective of what I am. Okay. A woman will leave her place because a man wants her to move in with him, right? And then you're in his house. He owns the house. His name is on the deed, right? His name is on the utilities. Even if you're paying half, you have no ownership there. So if one day he ups and decides to change the locks on you, you're just SOL. You know, people need to learn how to establish healthy boundaries when it comes to dealing with romantic relationships, friendships, and business if they're going to intersect each other, right? Or even in those things by themselves, but especially if they're going to intersect each other. A lot of us are not comfortable saying no to people who we care about, like
that's
in
true.
Personal life, in business, even coworkers. Sometimes someone asks you to do something at work, you don't want to do it, you don't feel like doing it, but you just feel a sense of obligation. You just kind of like one of those people that just wants to be helpful, blah blah. You say yes, and then you be like, what the hell did I agree to this?
And then you be hating yourself all day.
The power of the word no.
No is powerful. No is just as powerful as yes.
I will show up at the accountant's office and you will show me the ledger, because this is not about to go down. You know what I mean? Especially.
But see, that's the thing is like, Maul didn't care about it enough. You know, well, I guess for a while.
And I found myself in the Maul position quite a lot in my life of being the one that's like kind of just chilling, cool, and you can just deal with and write off a lot and not take it personal, right?
Right.
Where you'll have someone maybe
that's just how that person
being
is.
shady, or they're just moving funny, or and you just are like, well, that's my man's, but they're a little crazy,
right?
You know,
they be wild.
But you still peep
they be
it.
Wildin'.
He peeps it. That doesn't mean, just because your friend doesn't react doesn't mean they don't see. Or your coworker, just because your peer doesn't react doesn't mean they don't see how you're moving. I've worked with people who I like them as a person, and I don't like how they maneuver themselves at work. But I'll still be cordial with them, and I'll still be cool with them, because like I said, I don't dislike you as a person.
Right.
But I don't necessarily appreciate how you maneuver at work.
Yeah.
But I see it just because I don't say anything about it or don't react. People think they get away with things just because there's no reaction. Just because someone didn't react doesn't mean they didn't perceive.
Somebody didn't see you. Somebody probably saw you.
Someone probably perceived whatever the situation was. So I think that's how stuff like that, like, it went on for as long as it did. It's like, the perception was there, like, well, this is awful, this is funny, well, this is this, and well, this is that, but nobody reacted. And so it gave the illusion of like everything is like square. So then when they finally like were kind of at the edge of their rope and they started to react, then he want to act shocked, surprised, gaslight, trying to twist the narrative, all that stuff that a narcissist.
It's like, where is this coming from?
I'm telling you, go ahead and pull a narcissist card. See what happens. It's not worth the argument. I'm gonna tell you that. It's not worth the argument. The one thing I'm not about to do
is argue with a
narcissist.
Oh my God.
Or argue with Joe Biden.
The one thing I'm not about to do is argue with a narcissist.
And this is not like all about him or their situation. It applies to like so many things, but it is. We was watching that and we were like, wow, this is so crazy. Like just how so many people probably deal with this and it doesn't get talked about. You know, and a lot of people make these same mistakes because look at all the bad record deals in the 90s and the early 2000s and artists.
Yo,
like, look at Black Rob. Like, look at all the situations where
niggas is getting
people went into big business with their friends. Look at Dame Dash. You know, look at. It's a lot of situations. I'm not gonna speak on it. That is above my pay grade. Okay, I can only speak.
What? What's
that Dame Dash?
Oh yeah, no, I
wasn't there.
I am just a mere mortal on earth.
Like that situation is over our head. We could kind of get the gist based on what they've said, what the publications have said, But there's some things where it's like kind of clear what the situation is, and it's like, okay, well, how could this have been avoided to let it go that far? But it just is what it is. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. But now all of you who are witnessing this and watching it and chatting about it on Twitter and us, and if it's happening in your personal life, in your relationship, whatever, take heed to the warnings of people who've been through things before you have been through them, or before it's gotten as far, or if you're around the person who habitually steps the lines, but they talk a good game. If they act a certain way, just believe the actions.
Okay, that was a little much to follow from me, but I kept track and I agree with you. Yes.
I'm sorry. How was I talking?
No, you brought it home. You brought it home.
Rein it in and circle it back?
Yeah.
Watch how people move.
Well, bottom line, just
watch out for red flags.
Watch out for red flags.
When the red flags happen, believe them.
Listen. If
the business is so important that you have to continue forward, then draw a line in the sand when it comes to legality and protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't get into an argument with a narcissist because they will surely gaslight you.
No, it's not gonna. Okay? It's not gonna.
They will surely tell the public one thing or another. Okay. They will embellish a story, child. Okay. Someone who's got a big ego or like a narcissist,
they're gonna make some shit up.
Is gonna make some shit up.
They're gonna make some shit up.
I'm not saying I know how to deal with them because I don't.
Okay.
But protect your business.
Okay.
Protect your peace.
Yeah, I was gonna say get people a couple of tips.
I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to deal with them narcissists. I really don't. I know how to spot them and be like, oh snap, like oh man. But beyond that, it's like that's a hard personality to deal with. What's a telltale sign? Do you think? People who find a way to make any and everything like circle back to being about them. And talk about how it's about them. Like they make it about them, and they make it clear that they're making it about it being about them. So that's a telltale sign of a narcissist. So you could be talking about anything in the world that has absolutely nothing to do with this person.
Nothing to do with.
They will find a way, or they insert themselves into things that have nothing to do with them.
Yeah, nah.
Or like they try and like be in everything, like, or if a situation happened where they was like a side character. When they tell the story, they like make their role like much grander than it was in reality. That's like a sign of a narcissist. Like they kind of they retell things weird. Like it's like a strange.
Their reality be distorted.
Ooh, and if your boss is a narcissist, child.
Yeah.
What's your take?
My take is.
We were just talking about.
My take is, I feel like friendship and business do not mix. They rarely mix.
They can collaborate.
They can collaborate for sure, but I mean,
if they mix, it just has to be done very clean, real clean. You know.
I feel like it's cliche, but that saying holds true though. Like, oftentimes, friendship and business
falls apart. Yeah.
Because the lines are too blurred.
Gray lines. are not.
The lines are too blurred, and then you be letting, you be letting certain situations like slide, and
like y'all have a smoothie stand, but your friend is taking home all the smoothies to give to their family, and like, but you're also paying half for the ingredients. You like, I mean, that's my friend. I want them to have smoothies, but also it's costing me money, and you're taking all the smoothies. Like, it's hard to establish a boundary when it's someone who you care about. It's a little harder.
Yes, and that is why friendship and business don't mix, or even like not even friendship, just it could be on the family level too.
Right, but if it's done in an ultra professional way,
well, yeah, then that's
lines,
different.
But that's not how most people do it. Most people start out super lackadaisical, and then after shit blows up, they try and set lines. But at that point, you've already let that person tap dance all over their place. Yeah. So now you try and draw a line. They feel like you're attacking them.
Yeah, because no line has been drawn previously, and it's like, oh, I thought we was just rocking, you know what I'm saying, off the string.
There's no don't get into no verbal contract with your boys, okay? No,
make sure you have your business straight. Make sure
the business is very clean, very straight.
Intact.
People know what their accountabilities are. People know what their profits are. People know what their percentages are. You know what I mean? Like, don't leave any room for confusion, because you will 100% get confusion. Because people switch up so fast when money is involved. You can love your coworker. They can be the nicest person. A little $2,000 small sale come, and all of a sudden they switch their whole demeanor up. You're like, oh, well, dang, I didn't know
entirely different
that
person.
move by $2,000 sale. That's crazy to me. You know, like
entirely different.
You get a whole different. You be like, who was I just talking to 10 minutes ago? Because that is not the same person. Like, that can happen very easily in business, because you see it with your peers. You see it in the dynamic between your peers and their superiors. You see it in the dynamic between your superiors and their superiors. You see it in the dynamic between the VPs and the, so that's just something that happens in business in general.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta sign so many damn documents at a company, because everybody has to know exactly what their job is,
what your role is,
how much you get compensated for it,
like
where the collaboration comes in,
They gotta know everything.
And even within that, there's still theft of ideas and intellectual property, and those things still happen, and that's why they have whole HR departments. But when you're doing like business, like as an entrepreneur or as a musician or artist or something, with like people who you just know from around the way, or friends or family, that's where all the funny business happens, because there's no boundaries, and people are gonna always get weird when checks start pulling up. I don't know what it is.
Because 9 times out of 10, niggas aren't gonna, especially if y'all boys, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna like take the time to draft up no contract and do all X,
even if
Y,
you're
and
near
Z.
like a music group, like a band or like a duet or whatever.
Yeah.
And you guys are rocking. You could be rocking for years with each other with no money on the table and be fine. And the second deals and sponsorships and all the show revenue starts coming along, all of a sudden there's arguments and there's tension. It's because nothing was established. There was no boundaries established. There was no
So we're just trying to tame this beast.
And now y'all trying to tame it after it's a beast. Figure that out before there's money involved.
Yeah, that's
if someone's moving funny, don't go into business with them.
Period. Don't do it. It's a red flag. It's a red flag.
And you'll see it with small things.
With small shit. Just watch.
Small things. You'll see it with small things. See if they act funny over small peas, or a small amount of clout, or a radio interview, whatever the thing is, because it depends on what your field is for any of those things to be relevant. But if you start noticing weird behavior at small situations, then imagine that with a magnifying glass.
Yeah, imagine that when
you have to go to court to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's not worth the trouble.
No, not worth it.
It's not worth the trouble. Then your drama will be all over the timeline, and me and Malcolm will be talking about it on Poignant bars, and it's not worth the trouble.
Yeah, we're gonna be right back in here.
But I hope everybody in at least that particular example of a situation finds peace. You know, fighting just is what it is.
I hope that they find peace. Yes.
Well, what else am I gonna say? You know.
No, I mean that's.
I wish peace for everybody. You know.
That's true. That's
peace,
true.
That's it. Like, just find a modicum of peace and live your life however best suits you, and learn. Don't fall into the same situation with the same type of people the next time around.
No.
And that's a lesson for you, and that's a lesson for me, and that's a lesson for him, and that's a lesson for all
We're
of us.
learning as we grow.
Because we all
you gotta learn to break the patterns.
With every kind of step you get further towards success, you run into these situations. We all have. That's why everybody can relate to this situation.
Yeah, because on some level, you know, it's kind of happened to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
It could be your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your auntie, your cousin, your friend, your friend's man, your man's friends, like coworkers. You know, it could be any of those relationships can result in like a strange dynamic where you feel like that. The power of no is a strong power, and just remember
the power of no.
No, like no. You don't have to just bend over backwards for people because they ask you to.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't. You really don't.
And if you've been bending over backwards, even though nobody asked you to, and you don't feel reciprocity, then just don't bend over backwards. It's like just take a step back. You know, people don't protect their peace enough. I feel like that's where people keep getting taken advantage of, like in all these different circumstances. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I have friends going through it. We don't see people in business going through it. It's just like, but that's why I said like I feel like a reckoning is happening. Like I feel like there's those people who are like on a real upward dynamic and they're doing better and they feel their shit growing. But you have to shed off all of the weight. Like, you know, if you feel like someone is holding you by your ankle and they're like trying to hold you down, or you feel like they're like not being beneficial, or you're around a group of people and you just feel like their lane is not your lane, and you're trying to like force yourself to do things that like aren't in alignment with what you're trying to do, nip it in the bud.
Just nip it.
Otherwise the universe gonna teach you the hard way.
That part too. Yeah.
And if you don't learn the first time, the universe will teach you the hard way again.
Listen. You don't want them lessons to keep repeating.
You don't want the repeat lessons.
Nobody wants to repeat lessons.
Especially when you realize lessons come back, you're like, oh my gosh, like I thought we did this already. Like I clearly thought we did this already. It's like people who are trapped in a pattern. Like, say they have like one type of friend, and like they don't like that dynamic, and then they get away from them, and then they make a new friend, and then they find themselves in the same situation. Or like, you know how people date the same type of people again and again?
Yeah,
and like,
for sure.
Gosh, all my exes are trash.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. Maybe, you know, whatever.
You gotta learn the lesson if you want to get out of that dynamic with that person, with that guy, with that girl, whatever. If you don't learn the dynamic, you're gonna end up right back in the same type of relationship, dealing right back with the same type of problems, and making the same stupid choices because you're not asserting yourself.
The same stupid choices.
We've seen that happen with people around us. Relationship wise?
Yes. Same stupid choices. Now my eyes.
You know what? Now your eyes are. See, I told you it's the allergies. I don't know what it is. What is the saying? I've been using this one a lot lately. Play a foolish game, win a foolish prize. If it don't apply, let it fly.
Let it fly, man.
But if you play a stupid game,
listen.
Prize.
It just is what it is. At this point, it's 2021. We're surviving a pandemic.
We lived.
You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, life is too short to not be clear on the business end. Life is too short.
Yes.
All right. We gotta just.
We learn, we grow.
We learn and we grow.
Not just the business end, all fronts. Your creative stuff, your personal stuff, your family stuff. Like, just you get to decide. When you wake up, you get to decide how is today gonna go. And if something starts happening to you that's outside of your control, just accept. You know what? I didn't choose this today, but it's happening. I'm gonna deal with it as best I can, and then I'm gonna move forward with what I chose originally for the day. I chose happiness today, and this little whirlwind that zoomed in is not going to throw off that. And then watch what happens to the rest of your day. If you choose to respond with the same energy to the tornado, then your whole day is just a tornado, and you accomplish nothing because you had no control over your own.
See,
you know,
that's I need to tap in.
We need to tap out. Come on.